Straight ahead on 12 News, a visit with the reigning Miss Minnesota, who she credits for helping her get where she is today. Then,
this is my first time. I've been waiting 2 years for this moment.
A much anticipated walkway opens up with a connection to nature. But first, caught in the act. Robbinsdale police catch a suspect in the middle of the night who was up to no good. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Robbinsdale police were in the right place at the right time to stop a thief in his tracks and tackle a common summertime problem.
Car break-ins spike every year during the warmer months. This week, Robbinsdale police patrolling the area of 43rd and Zenith Avenues spotted a man checking vehicles to see if they were unlocked. They arrested and charged this man from Minneapolis, Rashawn Jones, with several different misdemeanors. Robbinsdale police launched a public awareness campaign this spring that included blanketing the city with these flyers alerting residents about these crimes of opportunity.
The easiest step is to lock your door. And about 90% of our break-ins are just people that don't lock their doors, and then they also leave valuables in plain sight.
The chief says they're trying to get the word out to Robbinsdale residents, also through their utility bills, that these crimes are easier to prevent than they are to solve.
The Brooklyn Park search for a new city manager won't be as simple as removing the interim tag on its acting city manager. The city council members confirmed that acting city manager Mike Sable has accepted a job with Hennepin County. Sable will become the county's new director of facilities. Brooklyn Park had a day full of interviews with potential candidates Wednesday, and Sable became interim city manager in February when Jamie Verbrugge left to become city manager of Bloomington. In the middle of construction season, there is something to celebrate.
That's right. A project connecting two cities along the Mississippi River is now complete. As Shannon Slatton reports, it provides a great view of the river for both bikers and walkers.
I really like coming to the dam, so I'm glad it's open again.
Yeah. Like the saying goes, you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
I've been waiting 2 years for this moment.
People who've gone 2 years without the walkway over the Coon Rapids Dam know they have something they appreciate.
I'm retired now, and I've been looking forward to this so much, so I've missed it.
Judy Blomgren appreciated the walk itself.
There's a pair of osprey up there every year since 2007.
The walkway gets Ron Tobby closer to the birds he likes to watch.
I'm so sure glad to have the walkway open because it saves the drive. I live in Coon Rapids, so I had to drive all the way around and come up here and back every day to see what we used to just walk across from.
All right, and we are officially open.
A passionate crowd came to celebrate the reopening of the walkway.
And we were just walking the side over on the Anoka, on the east side, and we found out that it was going to be open tonight. We had to come and celebrate because we're so excited.
I love going across the Shield Creek Trail and right across the dam to the Coon Rapids side. There's wonderful parks on both sides of the river. Just a great bike ride.
This walkway is part of a $16 million dam reconstruction project. There's new railings, new retaining wall, but there's still more to come.
I'm just really excited that the dam is complete and that it's really the kickoff of our whole master plan improvement process for the whole regional park.
What you like, what you don't like.
It's time to update the master plan for the Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park, and Three Rivers kicked off a year-long quest for public input.
We'd love to see some interpretive markers that talk about the early history of Brooklyn Park, the early history of the dam, and of course the Anoka side.
There are beautiful paths to rollerblade that are too old and need repair.
But for now, there's excitement that park goers have their walkway back.
It's honestly the one comment that I get in my email box all the time is, when is this walkway going to be open? People appreciate being able to cross the river, and today is a great day.
In Brooklyn Park, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
In Maple Grove, contractors are working hard to get a new park open before fall. Maple Grove Central Park is still a hard-hat area, but officials hope to have part of it open in August. The park will cover 40 acres with an ice skating path for the winter, a splash pad for the summer, and gardens where weddings can be held. It's being built in the middle of a growing neighborhood where many apartments are under construction right now.
Central Park is very unique in that it's really a community park, destination park that's embedded into a neighborhood. So you've got lots of residents that live right at its front door, have total access to the facilities, and we really think it's going to be popular.
The estimated price tag on the park is $16 million. The new Maple Grove Park is featured in our Project Parks Holiday Special. It's a look at how suburbs are creating new parks like the one in Maple Grove and updating older parks. It starts Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock right here on 12 News.
An important lesson for parents this 4th of July. While fireworks provide many oohs and ahs, they can also cause some serious harm. Fireworks injuries are the most prevalent among children 5 years old and younger. And having children wearing eye protection and keep a safe distance from fireworks are simple steps to help avoid injury. Dr. Tina McCarty with the Maple Grove Eye Care Center says when they do see eye injuries, they are often severe.
Of all the eye injuries associated with fireworks, 40% are related to sparklers and bottle rockets. And I think often the consumer thinks that those are maybe the most benign or the easiest to handle, when in fact they're the most dangerous.
And a reminder, it is illegal in the state of Minnesota to use any sort of firework that explodes or goes airborne.
Blame it on the fireworks or the backyard Independence Day parties, but did you know more dogs are lost on the 4th of July than any other day of the year? The Animal Humane Society is engraving free pet ID tags for anyone visiting their Golden Valley location today and on Friday. They're also getting the word out about a new smartphone app and website called Finding Rover. The free service reunites dogs with their owners by matching photos of missing dogs. The Animal Humane Society is uploading pictures of all the dogs that come into its shelter for the app. It's one way to give dogs a voice when they go missing.
They can't communicate with us. They don't speak human, but through the phone we can. So this is a way to communicate with these pets, get them home, and get them safe.
You can download the Finding Rover app, and it's already reunited more than 620 dogs with their owners. Coming up, the reigning Miss Minnesota pays a visit to our Channel 12 studios. See how she's preparing for the big Miss America pageant.
Then later in sports, Champlin Park uses a mixture of strong defense and timely hitting. In American Legion Baseball, we'll have the highlights.
But first, no need to cancel any 4th of July plans because of the weather. Saturday looks superb. Local seniors are among those preparing for the National Senior Games next week in the Twin Cities.
The games feature Olympic-style competition like track and field, but the fastest growing event is pickleball.
Well, I always go into these tournaments thinking I'm going to win it. You know, you got to have that attitude, you know.
In Maple Grove, many of the players on the pickleball court today will be playing at the National Senior Games. Pickleball requires quick reaction and good hand and eye coordination. And the players we met today worked to qualify in state competition last year with an eye toward competing at a higher level.
I expect very good competition, but I expect it to be a lot of fun too. I expect it to be a big challenge.
Tennis covers a little more ground. The courts are larger. The pickleball court is about 1/3 the size of a tennis court. And, but you have to move much quicker because the action is much quicker. As you progress in your ability, the game gets fast and slow. It's a lot of finesse to the game too.
Pickleball is one of 19 medal sports at the Senior Games. It also includes track and field, swimming, and basketball. On September 13th, a familiar face will represent Minnesota in the Miss America pageant.
Rachel Ladoff used to teach in the Osseo School District, and as Delane Cleveland reports, the newly crowned Miss Minnesota credits her time there with helping her get where she is today.
Your Miss Minnesota 2015 is Rachel Ladoff.
This was the scene on June 13th when a stunned Rachel Ladoff received her crown as the new Miss Minnesota.
At the time, I remember being confident, but then I almost had an aspect of fear, like, can I do this job?
Rachel visited 12 News this week as part of a media tour to introduce herself to the public.
I basically tell everybody that I've been hitting the ground running because I'm getting ready for Miss America, turning in paperwork, having these appearances.
However, Rachel is no stranger to the Channel 12 airwaves.
I need to try to hit the green pin.
We last met her in 2014 as she was finishing up her first year as an art teacher at Northview Junior High in Brooklyn Park. At the time, she was vying vying for the Miss Minnesota title as Miss St. Paul.
So when I was Miss St. Paul last year, I was 4th runner-up, and I was actually very pleased with my performance. I had come a long way.
In the years since, she moved on to teach at a high school in northern Minnesota.
I stopped teaching at Northview Junior High because I really wanted to focus on developing my understanding of the Ojibwe culture. That's been always one of my dreams, is teaching near a reservation.
Yet even with teaching a new group of students in a remote part of the state,
very woodsy, more animal than people,
she didn't give up her dreams for the crown. In fact, she says her stint as a teacher in Brooklyn Park inspired her platform of building the social and emotional wellness of youth and their teachers.
Osseo area schools has influenced me so much with my platform because they really value this aspect of finding a child's identity and welcoming that and finding a way to make it thrive in the community, which I think is so important.
Today, her reach is limited to Minnesota. She hopes it extends beyond that.
I never would have been as strong of a teacher if it wasn't for my experiences working with my children at Northview.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
As Miss Minnesota, Rachel acts as an ambassador for Children's Miracle Network Hospital. She also plans to go into schools to talk to students about bullying, cultural acceptance, and having value for their teachers. Coming up, some colorful ideas to spruce up the garden.
But first, get set for a holiday weekend of fishing with Terry Tuma. Jay Wilcox has his weekly tip and more coming up next.
Champlin Park and Maple Grove have built pretty strong high school baseball programs. They met up in American Legion play Wednesday night at Maple Grove. Champlin Park scores early as Riley Johnson singles to left to bring Noah Booley home with the game's first run in the top of the first, and it's quickly 1-0 Rebels. In the third, the shortstop makes a nice stop on Eric Pearson's grounder here, but Johnson scores on the play to make it 2-0 Champlin Park. In the bottom of the third, it's a pitcher's best friend as Jaden Roll lines it to second. The base runner is caught in no man's land. It turns into an easy double play to end the Maple Grove threat. In the fourth, another chance goes away as Jordan Albers hits into an around the horn 5-4-3 double play, and it stays 2-0 Champlin Park. In the top of the fifth, Brian McGill slaps a sharp grounder to first. He's out, but Johnson dashes home and slides in safely. It's 4-0 Rebels. Maple Grove gets some base runners, but another double play cost them a scoring chance as Champlin Park gets the second to first twin killing here. Then in the seventh, Champlin Park seals it as Derek Smith singles in a run. They get 4 total in that seventh inning on the way to a 9-1 win. In just about 1 week, the first part of the Big Schwann's USA Cup Youth Soccer Tournament kicks off, and it will be bigger than ever. A record 1,153 teams are registered for the tournament. They represent 17 countries, including 19 U.S. states and 5 Canadian provinces. 71 Minnesota communities will send teams, including Golden Valley, New Hope, Plymouth, and Maple Grove. The 3-day weekend tournament is next Friday through Sunday, July 10th through 12th. The main tournament starts on the 14th, and we'll have much more on USA Cup next week on 12 Sports. Leadcore is a popular fishing line with a variety of uses. Terry Tuma explains how to best use it when trolling for summer walleyes. Here's this week's Channel 12 fishing tip.
Leadcore, as we all know, is a great way to catch open water walleye, starting in the spring all the way through the fall period, almost up to freeze up. And here again, you want to match your crankbaits accordingly to the mood of these fish. Small, slow, subtle for non-aggressive fish, more aggressive fish, faster trolling speeds, maybe larger crankbaits, more vibration. But the main focus, the tip that I want to bring to everyone is that when you're using Leadcore and you have a fishing friend with you, or maybe you're fishing border waters where you can use 2 rods apiece, is always, if you can stay with all Leadcore, that's excellent. Because Leadcore with your crankbaits follows a path, usually right alongside where you have it in the water. In other words, it's going to follow the boat. But then if you're going to use a second rod, for instance, and using mono or a super braid like Fireline, and that will have a tendency to vary somewhat. It won't be the straight follow. is select crankbaits. You can have one crankbait that's going to have a wide swath of a distance traveling back and forth, so to speak, or sideways, and then have the other crankbait that's going to be more of a straight path runner. If you use two crankbaits, especially on turns, those crankbaits are going to cross over. So your monoline or your fire line is going to cross over that lead core, and you have nothing but a big tangled mess. One other comment I should make is that when you're running crankbaits, trolling is trying to have that crankbait position a foot or 2 feet above that walleye in that water column. That's going to be the best distance. Start out first and then keep bringing it up until you have your contact with that species of fish. Happy 4th of July, everyone, and have a great time on the water.
Thanks very much, Terry, and good luck fishing this weekend.
Absolutely. Should be a good weekend for it.
That's right.
Thanks, Jay. Still ahead, the power of perennials.
Whether your yard is sunny or shady, we'll bring you some colorful plant ideas you may not have thought about. We'll be right back. Lots of people still looking for the missing golden spud in Brooklyn Park, and here is the 8th and final clue. Straining their leashes, the dogs break away as Shimmick releases the shot. Then finally, McTater zeroes in on the missing golden spud near X mark and spot. Well, there it is, $300 to the person who finds the missing spud. There are many perennials that can create color throughout the summer and fall.
Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden to show us how perennials can enhance your landscape as well as your dinner plate.
We have Gaillardia here, the pop of orange.
Perennials are showing off their big, bold colors this time of year.
We have some echinacea, which is great for butterflies and bees.
Bachman's gardening expert Shayna Berg says there are some things to consider before planting perennials.
You want to look at how much exposure it'll get to the sun. We're talking full sun or shade.
And size really does matter.
How big is the plant going to get? How much space do you have in your garden?
These varieties work well in full sun gardens.
It's called GM. It's wonderful because it blooms from May all the way into September. And then the lamb's ear here is great for texture, a soft, neat texture, and the color as well.
And if you want to spice up shady areas, these plants may be the way to go.
This is Heuchera coral bells, so a few different varieties here.
And don't be afraid to use plants that give extra height to your garden.
We have hostas here that will get huge.
Some perennials are also edible.
These herbs will come back every year. Certain types of mint. We have English thyme, and then chives is another great herb to use in your kitchen too.
The best thing about perennials is the fact they come back year after year.
There's hundreds of options for perennials, which make them a great plant, especially in your garden.
For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Throughout the season, make sure you remove spent blooms on your perennials. It will encourage more growth. And that does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a great holiday weekend, everyone. Community Corner is coming up next.